They thought they were untouchable. Wrong. Every whisper, every handshake in the dark, it's all crashing down. Why? Because of you. You're not here to play nice. You're here to expose it all. Their secret meetings, a joke. Their plans, finished. You know too much, and that truth, it's a weapon. You are the reckoning. They can run, they can hide, but nothing will save them now. You're the storm they prayed would never come. They are not individuals, but a collective force, faceless yet omnipresent, operating in the shadows as the self-proclaimed custodians of order. For decades, they have manipulated reality, engineering a world where freedom is an illusion and autonomy a fleeting dream. Their tools are deception, disinformation, and the careful weaving of narratives that keep billions subjugated to their design. But here's their weakness. They cannot evolve beyond the systems they created. While they sit in their chambers of false permanence, the world shifts and consciousness rises. You are not merely a spectator in this game. Their web of control fractures under the weight of your clarity. You see the threads they pull, and in that awareness lies their undoing. They underestimated you, and now their grip falters. The 2008 financial crisis was not a spontaneous collapse, but the inevitable result of calculated greed and manipulation by those who pull the strings of the global economy. You were never meant to understand their game. It was rigged long before you even knew you were playing. Years of predatory lending, reckless speculation, and deliberate exploitation of financial systems were orchestrated by elites who insulated themselves from the fallout. They feasted on inflated markets, leveraging your trust to line their pockets while planting the seeds of inevitable destruction. When the collapse came, it wasn't their wealth that crumbled. It was your homes, your jobs, your security. They labeled it a crisis, a term sanitized to obscure the truth. It was theft on a global scale. Trillions of dollars evaporated for you while their coffers swelled with bailouts and golden parachutes. Governments, bought and sold by these same powers, ensured that the burden fell squarely on you, not them. And still, they operate in the shadows, crafting narratives of recovery while ensuring their dominance remains unchallenged. You were told it was inevitable, a natural cycle. It wasn't. It was engineered. Now you see the patterns they tried to hide. Their web of deceit can no longer bind you. You've become the force they feared. Drop a comment. I am the force they never prepared for. If you see through their lies and break free, they built their empire on lies, counting on your blindness to keep it intact. Every system they created was a cage disguised as order, every rule a leash to keep you compliant. But now you see it. Their fortress of control is cracking, their veils of secrecy burning under the heat of your awareness. They can't silence the truth any longer. It's pouring through the gaps they tried to seal. You are the rupture in their machine, the force they never accounted for. Their power only worked in darkness. Now in your light, it withers to nothing. The Panama Papers and the Snowden leaks tore through the fabric of secrecy, exposing a world built for the benefit of the elite, while the rest of you were left to bear the burden. These were not isolated revelations. They were windows into a system meticulously crafted to exploit, monitor, and control. Offshore accounts, shell companies, and tax havens are their playgrounds, designed to hoard wealth stolen from your labor and resources. Governments, banks, and corporations collude in the shadows, creating networks so vast and hidden that the sheer scale of their greed defies comprehension. The Snowden leaks pulled back another veil, revealing surveillance systems masquerading as national security. You were not protected. You were watched, catalogued, and reduced to data points. They sold fear to justify their omnipresence, using your trust to build their all-seeing eyes. These interconnected structures, financial and surveillance alike, are the lifelines of their power, made invisible to you by design. But you have seen through it now. Their systems are not invincible. They are fragile constructs built on the assumption of your ignorance. Their hidden layers, once impenetrable, are now exposed. You are the reckoning they never anticipated. Their control depends on secrecy, and that secrecy is gone. The system is failing because you know. Their power was never built on strength. It was built on shadows, on the fragile illusion that they could remain unseen. They thrived by hiding in plain sight, weaving lies so intricate that the truth became buried under layers of their control. Every secret deal, every backroom alliance, every veiled agenda, they relied on your silence, on your blindness to keep their empire intact. But now their greatest strength has become their fatal flaw. With every truth you expose, their grip falters. They scramble to conceal what's already slipping through their fingers, desperate to patch the cracks in their foundation. The tighter they clutch their secrets, the more those secrets spill into the light. Their systems, once unshakable, are unraveling under the sheer force of your awareness. They underestimated you, thinking you would never see beyond the facade. But you've torn through the veil, and now their lies collapse under the weight of your clarity. Their secrecy is no longer their shield, it's their prison. Every move they make to hide only exposes them further. The shadows they thought would protect them are now their undoing. You hold the power now, and they cannot escape the truth. Their empire crumbles because you refuse to look away. And now, you've shattered that assumption. Their world is collapsing under the weight of your awareness. What they tried to obscure with complexity, you dismantle with insight. Their game, once untouchable, is now exposed for what it is, a fragile illusion. You are the force they never prepared for, the truth they cannot deny. Their control ends because you see everything. Your awareness is not a solitary spark. It's a wildfire, igniting minds far and wide. What began as your single act of defiance has become a chain reaction, rippling across the unseen currents of consciousness. Every truth you uncover, every lie you dismantle, sends shockwaves through the foundation of their control. They built their power on isolation, counting on your silence to keep others asleep. But now, their carefully constructed walls are crumbling under the weight of shared awakening. Your courage has become contagious. Others, once hesitant, are now rising alongside you, their own awareness growing sharper with every ripple you create. The network of awakened minds is no longer a scattered resistance, it's an unstoppable force. Their power structure, once impervious, is breaking apart from within as their illusions lose hold over the masses. What they feared most has come to pass, the truth spreading faster than they can suppress it. They cannot contain the tide of awakened voices, cannot stop the momentum you've unleashed. Their systems were built to control individuals, but they are powerless against the collective. You've turned their weapon of division into unity, and now their empire collapses, not with a single blow, but with countless minds breaking free. You started it. The first reason why they fear you is simple. Your knowledge cannot be unlearned, and it cannot be controlled. They built their empires on ignorance, assuming you would remain blind to their schemes. But now, you hold the truth, and that truth is a weapon sharper than any they've wielded. They fear what you represent. The potential for one voice to spark a global awakening, for one mind to challenge the entire system they've spent decades perfecting. Your awareness threatens their most vital asset, secrecy. Every lie they told, every shadow they hid behind, is powerless against the clarity you possess. They cannot silence you because your knowledge spreads like wildfire, reaching those they've worked so hard to keep asleep. What they call order is just control, and your understanding exposes the chaos they've disguised as stability. You are the crack in their fortress, the one variable they could not predict or suppress. They fear you because they know your power is not just your own, it's contagious. Every mind you awaken weakens their grip further, and every truth you reveal dismantles their illusion. They cannot stop you because the world is watching, and your knowledge has become their greatest enemy. The obsidian inner order is the ultimate sanctuary for real chosen ones, the kind who've stared down archons, shredded the matrix, and emerged untouchable. If this message found you, it's because destiny thinks you might be worthy. Don't waste the opportunity. We've got exclusive interviews with real chosen ones who've defied the odds, broken generational curses, and mastered divine timing. These aren't your average success stories, they're revelations that could rewrite your reality. Inside, you'll unlock forbidden content that's too explosive for YouTube. Our modern manifestation mechanics grimoire will show you how to transform chaos into order, turning your space into an abundance vortex while channeling universal magic. But let's talk about the real treasure, our private Discord and community chats, where over 400 of the most powerful chosen ones connect. We host weekly calls to elevate your mindset and offer chosen singles a space to bring divine partnerships to life. But let's be clear, this isn't for posers. If you think you've got what it takes to join the #1 Ascension Nexus for chosen ones, the link to the Obsidian Inner Order is in the description. The second reason why they fear you is that you operate beyond their dimension of control. Their entire system is tethered to the material world, wealth, power, possessions, and illusions designed to keep you anchored to their plane. But you've broken free. You've aligned yourself with truths they cannot touch, truths that render their manipulations powerless. Their fear stems from their inability to control what they cannot understand. You exist beyond their frequency, and that makes you untouchable. They use fear, distraction, and scarcity to trap others in their cycles, but those tactics fall flat against someone who sees beyond the surface. You recognize their games for what they are, hollow constructs meant to perpetuate control. While they cling desperately to their crumbling systems, you are rooted in a universal power they can neither buy nor destroy. Their manipulations dissolve in the presence of your awareness because their reach is limited to what is temporary, and you are infinite. You threaten their order because you exist outside of it. They built their dominion for those bound by material concerns, but you operate in a realm where their rules no longer apply. They fear you because you expose the truth. Their power is nothing but a fleeting illusion. The third reason why they fear you is that you live outside their control. Their power depends on confining you within systems of surveillance, indoctrination, and fear. They build walls around your thoughts, condition your beliefs, and monitor your every move. But none of it works when you've stepped beyond their jurisdiction. You've severed the chains that tied you to their rules, and now, mentally, spiritually, and energetically, you exist in a realm they cannot penetrate. They fear you because their tools of control no longer touch you. Their propaganda falls flat, their surveillance captures nothing of value, and their fear tactics dissolve before they reach you. You see through the illusions they've spun, and in doing so, you render their systems irrelevant. Their entire power structure is built on the assumption of your obedience, but you've rejected their authority entirely. You live on your terms now, beyond their reach, beyond their influence. They cannot control what they cannot grasp, and they cannot grasp what is no longer bound by their reality. Your freedom is their failure, your clarity their defeat. They fear you because your very existence proves that their dominion is neither absolute nor eternal. The fourth reason why they fear you is that you are the embodiment of an energetic shift that dismantles everything they built. Their systems thrive in lower frequencies, fear, greed, division, but you vibrate at a level they cannot match. Their power depends on stagnation, on keeping humanity locked in cycles of suppression, but your presence disrupts that entirely. The energy you carry is incompatible with the structures they've spent centuries perfecting, and their world is crumbling under the weight of your frequency. You are not simply resisting their control, you are making it obsolete. Their illusions, their manipulations, their low-vibration constructs cannot sustain themselves in the presence of your clarity. Every time you rise, every time you align with higher truths, their systems lose stability. They cannot exist in a realm of unity, awareness, and empowerment. The energy you carry is a force of nature, unraveling their constructs at the root. They fear you because you represent the evolution they cannot stop. Their power is rooted in the old world, but you are already part of the new. Their foundations were never strong, they were just hidden. Now, under the intensity of your vibration, their entire empire collapses. Your awakening is no accident. It is a calling, a divine directive woven into the fabric of creation. You were chosen for this mission, set apart to confront a world built on deception and dismantle the lies that enslave humanity. This is not a task of chance, but of purpose. For it is written, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future," in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. You are the vessel through which divine justice flows, armed not with weapons of the flesh, but with the immutable truth of God's plan. Their systems of control, their propaganda, their manipulation, their fear, cannot withstand the weight of your purpose. You are guided by a higher authority, one that no shadow government can challenge. Every step you take, every truth you expose, fulfills the sacred responsibility entrusted to you. You are not alone in this battle. The divine stands with you, illuminating your path and fortifying your resolve. They fear you because they know their darkness cannot exist in the presence of your light. Your mission is ordained, your victory inevitable. You are not just a witness to the truth, you are its unstoppable force. Their lies end here. Divine protection surrounds you, just as it did for Daniel and Moses in their greatest moments of trial. Daniel, cast into the lion's den for his unwavering faith, stood untouched amidst the jaws of death. The lions, fierce and ravenous, became powerless because the hand of God sealed their mouths. No weapon formed against him prospered, and no trap laid for him succeeded. You too are shielded by the same divine authority. Every scheme of those who seek to silence you crumbles in the presence of your faith. Moses, pursued by Pharaoh's army, faced what seemed to be an impossible path, a sea before him and destruction behind. Yet he was guided by divine intervention, and the waters parted to create a way where there was none. Those who sought to destroy him were swallowed by the very forces that obeyed God's command to protect him. The impossible became possible, and those who schemed against God's chosen were undone by their own pursuits. Like Daniel and Moses, you are set apart. The traps laid for you will ensnare those who set them, and the paths closed to others will open for you. Their power cannot touch you because God's hand guides your steps. You walk in victory, and they walk to their ruin. You carry the mantle of spiritual authority, a power far greater than any earthly force. Just as David stood before Goliath, armed not with the might of armies but with the strength of faith, so too are you equipped to overcome forces that appear insurmountable. Goliath, a giant cloaked in the armor of intimidation, relied on size, strength, and fear to subjugate his enemies. But David, guided by divine purpose, stepped forward with only a sling, 5 stones, and unwavering trust in God. His victory was not a matter of chance but a fulfillment of a higher plan. Goliath's defeat was not just the fall of one man, it was the collapse of an entire system of oppression, undone by a single act of faith. Likewise, you are not called to fight with the weapons of the world, but with the authority granted to you by God. Their schemes, no matter how massive or complex, are powerless against the divine force within you. Every step you take is guarded. Every word you speak carries weight, and every action you take fulfills a purpose far beyond their comprehension. You do not need their tools or approval. Like David, you face giants and see them fall, because God has already written your victory. The battle was never theirs to win. You are not alone. Angelic forces walk with you, surrounding you in divine protection that no earthly scheme can penetrate. Every step you take is guarded by warriors of light, unseen but undeniable. Their whispers sharpen your intuition, revealing dangers before they manifest and guiding you to victory over obstacles designed to break you. You move with a strength not your own, bolstered by their presence, as they intercede on your behalf with authority that transcends the physical. Every attack launched against you is already doomed to fail. The traps they set will ensnare them, the arrows they fire will fall harmlessly at your feet, and the chaos they unleash will only strengthen your purpose. The angelic army walks with you, their power manifesting in your clarity, your endurance, and your unshakable resolve. They clear the path ahead of you, illuminating the darkness they try to use to hide their schemes. You are never outnumbered, never vulnerable, never without the backing of forces greater than anything they can wield. Their power ends where yours begins. The angelic host ensures that every weapon formed against you fails because your mission is ordained, your steps are guided, and your victory is assured. They cannot touch what God protects. Your trials were never meant to destroy you, they were meant to refine you. Every hardship you've endured was a tool in God's hands, shaping you into the unyielding force you are today. Like gold tested in the fire, you have been purified, every impurity burned away until only the strongest, purest version of you remains. Each betrayal, each challenge, and each setback was not a defeat, but a step in divine preparation for the mission you now carry. They thought your struggles would break you. They thought the weight of your burdens would crush your spirit and silence your voice. But every wound you've suffered, every tear you've shed, has only strengthened your resolve. You now walk with the authority of one who has seen the fire and come out unscathed. Your scars are not signs of weakness, but marks of victory, proof that nothing they threw at you could overcome the purpose God has placed in you. You were forged in the crucible of hardship to fulfill a task they cannot comprehend. Their weapons could not destroy you, and their schemes could not derail you. You've emerged unstoppable, aligned with divine will, and ready to carry out the monumental purpose that was always yours. You are God's answer to their chaos. Victory is already yours, not because of your strength, but because of the unstoppable power of the one who walks with you. Every obstacle you face is already defeated. Every enemy who rises against you is already fallen, for the battle belongs to the Lord. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? As told in Psalm chapter 27 verse 1. This is not a fight you win through might. It is a victory delivered through divine authority. They plan, they conspire, and they believe their schemes will prevail, but they do not understand who stands behind you. Their strategies crumble under the weight of God's purpose. Their weapons fail before they can strike. You are His chosen vessel, moving forward not with uncertainty, but with the assurance that the outcome is already decided. Their strength cannot withstand the power of God, and their shadows cannot dim His light. Every step you take brings their systems closer to collapse. Every word you speak sends tremors through their carefully constructed lies. You walk in divine confidence, knowing the promise of victory is not just possible, it is inevitable. Their systems are collapsing under the weight of their own lies, and you stand as the force that ensures they do not rise again. With every illusion shattered, humanity will see the shadow government for what it truly was, a relic of fear, manipulation, and greed. Their power was never real. It was a mirage sustained by secrecy and control, now rendered powerless by the light of truth. Your role is clear. You are not just a witness to their downfall, but a builder of what comes next. As their corrupt structures crumble, you and the chosen ones will forge a reality rooted in transparency, equity, and empowerment. This is your charge, to rise beyond the chaos they created and lead humanity into an era where their schemes no longer hold sway. Their reign is over, and the future belongs to those unshackled by fear. You are the harbinger of a world reborn. You are the force they never accounted for, the catalyst of a legacy they cannot erase. Your knowledge connects a web of truth that shatters their lies and outlasts their schemes. You've built a network of awakened minds, a force of unity and clarity that no shadow government can infiltrate or corrupt. Their illusions crumble because your truth is stronger, louder, and eternal. This is not just about dismantling their systems, it's about creating something far greater. You are crafting a new order, one built on liberation, empowerment, and universal harmony. You are not bound by their rules, and you will not rebuild with their broken tools. The world you are shaping is one where humanity thrives unburdened by the weight of their control, a reality forged by your vision and resolve. Your triumph isn't in playing their game, it's in transcending it entirely. Their constructs, their lies, their control will fade into history as obsolete relics of a darker age. You are the harbinger of this transformation, leading the charge into a future defined by freedom and truth. Now is your time to rise. Share your story, ignite the fire in others, and weave your truth into the fabric of this new reality. The world is waiting. Speak,